So the topic I'm going to be covering today is all about resumes. And as you all know, resumes are like the first glimpse that an organization has into who you are as a person. And we want that to be the right image and the right perception of yourself. So there's a couple sections that you need to include on your resume, and I want to work through each one of them and kind of talk about what to do, what to include, so that you're able to then go and construct your own resume with all the right components. Okay, so the first thing that you have is your heading, and that has your name, your address, your phone number, and your email address. So a couple tips about this section. First of all, make sure that your address and your phone number are the one that you are actually able to be reached at as you're applying for that job. So for example, if you're from New York and you're applying for a job here in Michigan, that phone number should correlate to where you are at that current time. Along with that is making sure that your voicemail message is appropriate. So you're not saying, "Hey, what's up?" in the background of your voicemail message when you may be expecting a professional phone call for someone about a job potentially. The other thing to remember about that is your email. It would be a good idea for you to have a personal email that's not associated with the university. So whether that's a Gmail account or some other type of webmail, that is something that's really simple, something that's associated with your name, nothing fancy, nothing cute. That would be a good thing to have. The next section on your resume is actually your career objective or summary, and there's two different kinds of objectives that you can have. The first one is a very general one where I'm seeking a full-time job in the field of marketing. You can have something as simple as that. But where it really gets powerful is when you're able to tailor it to the job that you're applying for. And perhaps you can write something that is focused on that particular job and why that's a good fit for you. Because you have to think about a couple of things. First of all, they may not have a cover letter to go with that resume. So if that resume is getting passed around at an organization, it gives those other people that are looking at it a really good idea of the type of job that you're looking for. The other thing that you want to that you could potentially put in there is some of your skills that might show up on the rest of your resume, but it kind of gives a more of a summary of what that might look like. I was going to read an example or a couple of examples of those, including things like human resources professional seeking a position in a forward-thinking organization in a training consultant type role. This is not something that you have any I statements in or personal pronouns. Usually it's just going to be sentences that really even aren't complete sentences. Skilled at such and such. But it is really a nice way to give them just this overview of who you are and what kind of job you're looking for. The next section would be your education. And for your education, a couple of reminders. Always have your what you're studying, the date, your expected date of graduation. You don't need a laundry list of the classes that you're taking, but if there's some specialized activities or leadership opportunities that you've taken advantage of, or clubs that you've been part of, those would be acceptable to just list right under your education. If there's 3 or more, then yeah, put them in a separate section. But if there's just a few, that's a good place to put it. The other thing that you can include in your education section is a little bit more of accomplishments. So not just I participated, but if you actually had something that you accomplished as a part of that organization or as a part of your role, let's say student government, maybe you created a task force for increasing the recycling on campus and led that. No, that would be a very specific thing that you could put under there, which ties very well into the next section, which is your work experience. So your work experience, you list from most recent to all the way back. And as you get more into your career, you can be a little bit more selective about what you include in that work experience section. But for now, typically you're going to put what you have. The only thing that I would say for your work experience section is if you were going to include 3 or 4 bullet points underneath each job, I would say 1 or 2 of them could be like responsibilities or tasks that you completed, but the other couple should be accomplishments. So even if you worked at something where you say, you know what, I really wasn't working on projects or things that I could say I completed, you could still say perhaps you participated in a project, or you made some suggestions for improvement that actually took place in your workplace. So thinking through what are some specific things that you can say that you were accomplishments for you while you worked there. The good thing for that, or the reason why that's important, is because it gives the interviewer something to ask you about. Say, oh, I see in your resume that you participated in this task force on recycling on campus, and then you're able to then talk more or give them some more details about why it was a good experience, what was beneficial about it, and all those other things that they otherwise may not have known. The other section that you might include is a section called capabilities and skills. And this is a good place to get in some of those good keywords that employers are looking for. Specifically, if you have special training or certifications that don't really fit anywhere else, whether that's a computer program that you are familiar with or something that's real technical in a field that you're looking to be part of, then yeah, that's a great place to put that. It's not so great if you just have like a really long list of good team player, leadership skills, able to work with others. Those don't really tell me anything new. So if you can tie it to some specific accomplishment or something that you were involved in, then that gives me something as an interviewer, something to ask you about. The last section that some people want to put on their resume is their references, or even to say references available upon request. And I would say my opinion on this is to just leave it off completely. If you go to an interview, it's very possible that they might ask, or they'll have a spot for you to put your references, and that's a good time to have a whole like separate sheet of paper where you have it listed out who your references are and their contact information, and then that's a good way to then give them that whole sheet, and then they can have that separate from your resume. But it's just kind of a waste of space. I'd rather you use that space on your resume to tell me more about what makes you special and unique and why you would be a good fit for the job. So those are the really general sections for the resume. We will talk more or follow up with these in class, but as you work on your resume for your first assignment, this would be the items that I would be looking to make sure you have each of those components when you're constructing your resume. Have fun.